up some tabs. So we got some. I had YouTube open earlier, and I think it's using up all of my CPU. So let me close a bunch of things. So when I try to open Chrome, it's like it's dying. Okay, CPU usage. Okay, Gmail is using like 100% CPU. All right. Gmail. Okay, Gmail. I also have like 1 billion tabs open for programming related things. Probably should kill some of those. Okay, live stream tab. Whatever, it's probably fine. When I start to actually compile stuff, things are gonna break. Also, hello everyone. Hello. Welcome to the weekly stream. I don't know, I was considering streaming yesterday, but I didn't. I know like Pomu is doing a VR test stream right now, but I didn't think her stream would go this long. It started at like 2 p.m. It's like 5:15 now. But there's other members in there too. So basically, let me open up Firefox. This is sort of what I have. Actually, okay, so I'm gonna explain what this actual project is. So a while back, I made this website. It doesn't exist anymore because Twitter like removed my API keys for some reason, but there's some backups of it. Let's look on GitHub. So basically, for people who are not familiar with Granblue Fantasy, there's this concept called like raids. Let me turn everything on. Let's see. We got night mode. We got images. Okay, so basically in GranBlue RaidFinder, sorry, in Granblue Fantasy, there's there's all these bosses you can fight, and basically what you do in game, I would log into Granblue and show you guys, but I don't feel like it. I'm just gonna explain how it works. Like, basically in the game, there's these bosses you can fight, right? So like this dude, I don't know who's popular. This dude, okay. And basically, it's like a multiplayer thing where you get people to fight with you. And so, if you need support, there's a button in game where you click it, and it will send a tweet, right? It'll say like, "Hello, I need help fighting this boss. Here's the ID," and then people can click on it. They'll copy and paste the code, and then like they'll go into your game. So the way people do this is on Twitter. You'll have something like, you know, you'll type. The way this used to be was people would search for the boss names, something like this, and then here's like the raid tweet. Basically, in game, you click a button, it'll send this thing to your account, and then people are expected to like copy this ID, and then go into the game and paste it into another field, and then they'll join your raid. But it was kind of annoying. People are just like, I don't want to have to, you know, have a manual search of every one of these. So I made this website a while back. This was back in 2016. It was like 6 years ago. And basically, all it does is it loads Twitter. There's like Twitter has a streaming API, and it will search for a bunch of different terms. So if you notice in all these messages, you have something like this, right? Basically, if you search for this, you'll basically get everything, right? And so my service basically just did the streaming API, and then it loaded tweets in real time as they come in. And then I wanted to avoid having to hardcode the names of bosses everywhere. So it'll automatically detect the boss name, and then it'll extract the image. And then it'll like automatically populate this boss list of all the bosses. And then if you click them, you get to subscribe to them. You can enable like notifications, all that. You can unfollow, subscribe. And this was cool for a long time. And then I think if you can click the button to like copy the ID to your clipboard, And then there's also languages, so some of these users are in English, some of these are in Japanese. And so the English users had a different term that you'll search. And then there's also people like posting fake tweets. You can like literally copy and paste like these words and put your own fake stuff in there. So I had to like detect the source of the tweet was the appropriate account and then like filter them out. And then let's see what else. Basically, it's been a long time since I had to write this. And so it's been going on like unmaintained for a very long time. Let's see, last time I updated this was in 2017. But even though new bosses are still getting added, they automatically get picked up because of the automatic like translation system that I have. And let's see. I have a bunch of docs on how I did it. Hello. Alright, so basically this basically just explains I'm using the word basically too much. There's a bunch of docs. And so each of these bosses has an image. So like depending on the language that you have set in your Granblue account, it'll tweet this image, right? But this is probably not the best example. There's like this one, right? You'll have this image, then you'll have like a Japanese version or an English version of it. And you'll see like the bottom right side. Let me put my thing over here. The bottom right side, this thing will be different, right? And so my system needed a way to basically combine them to know that, you know, this boss is with this name is the same as the other boss, but in English. And then I did a like perceptual hash. So basically the top part of the image is exactly the same. So like crop off the bottom 75%, the bottom 25%, and then just get this top part. And then I do a hash of the image and then like compare them and they should be the same. Basically this is the implementation, and then like a lot of people used to use this site. But then, you know, as I mentioned, Twitter for some reason disabled my account and then it would not reply to my emails. I don't think I was like breaking any terms of service, but they've never restored it. So that kind of demotivated me to continue it. I just discontinued my site, but it's available for other people to use. And so basically, God, I need to stop saying basically. The technologies that I wrote this site in is actually really outdated. Is using like Scala and Scala.js, and it's like not very good in terms of memory usage. It's like kind of uses way too many memory. That's a weird thing. Way too much memory. And I used it for the front end also. The front end is also written in Scala, which is not the best idea. It had the front end client here. So basically, I just wanted to. All right, I need to make a counter of me stop. I need to stop saying basically. All right, so. Oh shoot. So, I had a project a while back where I was trying to rewrite this in Rust because it's like a lot faster to start up. And I named it Petronel because there's a weapon called this in the game, and it's associated with like a treasure hunter character. And I'm just like, I don't know, every programming project needs like a quirky name. And just like I'll just use this name. And this was like 2018. And I had a bunch of commits in it. And then it was not very good. I had to like, okay, this is obviously like not an actual thing. But I had to implement a lot of things manually because back then in 2018, the Rust async ecosystem was not very good. It had me like implement a lot of stuff by myself because it didn't exist. Like the whole concept of like broadcasting, there weren't any libraries to do it. Futures were also not really a thing back then, so I implemented a lot of this stuff by hand, and it was really annoying. I ported over the perceptual hash library from Java. So let me go back to my other code. gbf-raidfinder. This perceptual hash basically just, it wasn't even on GitHub, it's just like some paste bin. And so I just copied this from online. It had no license, I just copied it. And then I ported it to Rust. It's pretty simple actually. Just like an image library. You're like copying, enumerating a bunch of values, doing a bunch of math that I don't understand, but that's fine. And then in the end you get this image hash. And it works fine. And so like conceptually this is like an interesting project to me because it deals with a bunch of stuff like async and like streams and transformation and things like that. And so every few years when I run out of things that I want to do, I always have this desire to program stuff just because when I'm bored, sometimes I'll just be like watching a stream or like playing a game and I'll think I need to do something else with my time. VeraMate 2.0. VeraMate is dead, right? It's been a long time. But I mean, VeraMate is like a totally separate thing. It was like a client-side thing, and then they banned it because it was too good. But I haven't actually played GranBlue since a long time ago. Probably like way before. By the time I was writing this GranBlue RaidFinder, I think I had already stopped playing GranBlue. It's been like 5 or 6 years. And but I still have this desire to rewrite it because I know there's like stuff that's come out like gbf.life. I think people use this one sometimes, but I don't really understand. It looks like there's so many options and I don't get it. Like, what do I do? How do I add things? Click this. Yeah, to me, it's like it's not obvious how to use it. It's like what is it? Search? You use the search bar? Oh, okay, there you go. And then you choose a boss, but I don't think these are automatically translated. They're like manually curated, which is something I want to avoid. Hello, how have I been? I've been very programming. That's not really a adjective, but my brain has been in programming mode, so I'm just like explaining kind of what I've been going through. Hello. Also, I've been watching a lot of indie VTubers lately. I've been mentioning this for like the past month, but more than last time even. Just because I was just like, how does everyone know like everyone? Like every streamer that I know has been watching. They basically know like a lot of other people, and I'm just like, oh, that's cool. And then I've just been lurking in streams, and they acknowledge every member, everyone who shows up in chat. Like they'll say their name, they're like, thanks for following and everything, which I have not really been doing, but it's a lot of effort to like remember names and things like that. I've been awful at names, but it's like usually on YouTube it's a lot easier because like there's users have icons, so like I'll recognize like, oh yeah, this is the dude with the McDonald's Genshin icon and things like that. But like sometimes I'll like forget names and it's not so good. But anyway, how did he get on the tangent? I don't know. So the rewrite that I had a while back was this one. Oh yeah, I also have this sandbox account for like random projects that I've abandoned. So I had this other one. Let's see, this is the rewrite I attempted in 2018. And it actually works. There's what is it? GBF. This project, which is a compatible backend version with it does all the WebSocket stuff and protobuf. Oh yeah, I forgot to explain how the old version worked. Let's see, gbf-raidfinder. So the way this worked was in Scala, it would create like a protobuf message and then send it over WebSocket. So like to follow someone, you would click and then it'll send a protobuf message from the front end to the back end, and then it'll get back the streams. So I don't actually use Firefox, so I don't know like the dev tools. How do I use dev tools in Firefox? Tools, browser tools, browser console. I don't know, but it's sending WebSocket messages. And so I had this version that used this other library, and it had all the protobuf stuff in it. Oh yeah, I should drink water. Hold on. Now that this is like the first time in like a month that I've been able to actually see myself drinking water while streaming, because of the last 3 times I've just been doing the VR, and I'm on the lake. All right, so it's time for me to actually see the water that I'm drinking. Hello, hello. All right, so this was the previous iteration. And then I had another more recent rewrite. I've rewritten this thing actually. If you look at the history of this other rewrite, it's it had a lot of like delete everything tweets. So I like wrote it one way, and then I'm like, oh, I don't like the way I did this, so I'm going to delete it. Maybe not this one. No, but there's another one. Let's see, Wolfie slash... and like another GraphQL version. So this was a more recent rewrite. This was sometime last year. Every time I try to do these, I end up like giving up. I'm just like, I don't feel like putting in the effort to do this, because back then it was actually a lot of effort. I wrote like all these tests. Actually, let me go over the tests. Server. This one, test. Wait, where's the test? Add like a test for like parsing the tweets. It was like really extensive, and then I had tests for like streaming. Let's see, observables. This used a lot of like back then. I don't know if this library still used Monix. There's probably like no Scala programmers in chat right now, and probably like no Rust programmers. Came to say hi, I'm busy at this moment. Okay, thank you. And then I had like this other test. Twitter stream, I had like a cached observable. I had the like unit tests with the idols. I think I mentioned like I added like characters. Here's the Aikatsu reference in my unit tests. Just for no reason, just to test that it works for generic types. So I had stuff hidden in my code like this. You should know how to do stuff like this. It's just I think if you do programming like a while, you'll just get used to like, oh yeah, it's like I know this technology, I know this other technology. I'm just gonna combine them, and then I'll know how to do this other thing. And then if you don't know how to do it, just like Google it, and then eventually you'll be like, oh yeah, okay. There's a library that does it. You just copy the library. Scala was fun. I do Scala, like my job in real life is Scala, and I'm getting kind of sick of it, honestly. Everything that I write nowadays is going to be in Rust. Anyway, here's a more recent rewrite that I did of it. So the previous version was over WebSockets and protobuf, which is a bit inflexible. You have to like have the client and server agree on the protobuf objects, and it was a bit annoying to do that over WebSockets. But so then I was like, what if I just make a GraphQL version? Because I know GraphQL has subscriptions that you can use. So this stream also, by the way, is probably super boring if you guys are not into programming or like any of this. But it is just me rambling. So I had this other rewrite that I did of it. This is in Rust, and this is more recent, sometime like 2 years ago-ish. I basically ported over the stuff that I did previously, but with more modern technology. And of course, like Rust moves at such a fast rate now that a lot of this stuff is out of date. So we had like a lot of the libraries that were used back then are like, they're more stable now, but they're still changing a bit. But I've come into like this library called Tower, which integrates really well, and like Axum as an HTTP library, server library, is really good. And so this was my more recent rewrite. Basically just copying over a lot of stuff from last time. Let's see, split mode. Also, I don't know if you guys use GitHub. I think by default it does unified mode. And I always use split mode. I don't know, it's just a lot easier for me to read. I only know JavaScript, but this looks interesting. Yeah, JavaScript, I think a lot of people start with JavaScript nowadays. Because like, there's like, it does front end and back end, you have like server side JavaScript. Back when I first did like programming stuff, like as a job, I think the JavaScript backend ecosystem was not so like well known, or not as like developed. Still like the Wild West. I mean, it still kind of is the Wild West, but I guess it's more of a thing nowadays, and everyone's using like TypeScript. Anyway, once I get to doing the front end of this project, I'm gonna probably hate it. I'm probably gonna do it in like React Native, just so I can have like an app version of it. Anyway, so here's some commits from last time I did it. It won't play with Scala, but currying and other features. Yeah, I think like Scala is kind of weird actually. It's like it has to inherit all the problems of Java because it runs on the JVM, and it has like JVM interop. And so you'll have things like you'll have option types, but they can be null, which is kind of annoying. If you have to deal with Java objects, you'll have like Scala. It has all this like nice type safe stuff, and I feel like there's too many ways to do things in Scala. So like a lot of beginners are like, you know, how do I do this thing? And someone will tell you something, and then there's like 10 different ways to do it. There's like 10 different syntactical sugar things. But after a while you get used to it, I guess. Currying is like pretty common, I think, in functional languages. I learned Haskell before I learned Scala, so a lot of this stuff made sense, but like having to all this stuff with like types, type classes was a bit confusing at first. That's a question I like to ask on interviews. At my job, they'll have me interview like Scala candidates, and I'll usually ask them something about like whether they know type classes, if they know how to do like async stuff, like you fire off a request that has like 3 futures and 2 of them fail. How do you aggregate it without failing the whole thing? And people have different responses, depending on how familiar they are with things. But anyway, here's the stuff. Here's all these commits. I allow error handling for like 400 errors. I added like a lot of tests. Let me look. Did I have commits or I delete everything? Let me look at my pull requests actually. Refactor, replace. Okay, so here's like I wrote it one way and then I'll like undo everything. I don't know, one of the projects I had, I'll have like a commit that's like delete everything. Or I just delete all the files and start over. I forget which one it was. I have like 5 different rewrites. Okay, so we have this one. Anyway, this one actually works. It works actually really well. I have like all these documentation and it runs and it creates like a GraphQL server that listens, but the technology that I was using is outdated now. If you look at the dependencies, Hyper's on a different version, futures, I think that's fine. I think Tokyo, where was it? I was using, so Slog was a logging library. Nowadays people usually use tracing. Struct opt has been replaced by like clap version 3, I think. And there's a Twitter stream. And then Juniper was the GraphQL library I was using. Back then I was using an unreleased version because they hadn't published it yet, but they had this integration with this library called Warp, and I was using Warp. But nowadays I like using Axum. Red commits are always favorable to green ones. Yeah, I like deleting everything. It's like nice to have a fresh start. You look at your tree and it's like, oh, everything's like nice and good. But if we look at how it was set up, we had like a main that did all this stuff. I had to use Redis for what is it called? Persistence. It also would read from a JSON file if you specified that. And then you had like a boss handler. And then it spawned a bunch of background tasks for doing like cleanup things. Because sometimes you'll get like stuff that is in invalid state. Because sometimes you have to do error handling. Like you do a HTTP request and it fails, you have to like handle that. Everything's like async. Every once in a while you like flush the data to a JSON file so that if your app crashes you can reload it. And it was like, this was actually very robust, I think. But I hated the way I wrote it. So the more recent rewrite that I've been doing, I've just been like, I'm gonna rewrite this but better. And then once I get to something, I'm just like, oh, why did I write it this way? And then when I actually looked at it, I dealt with so many error cases, all these like edge cases in my tests. I'm like, oh, okay, that's why I did it. And I ended up just like copying the stuff over and just altering a few minor things to make it consistent with like the newer libraries. So let's see, we have I also custom implemented Prometheus metrics. I don't know if you guys know Prometheus, people who do like programming as their main job. If you have metrics, so there's two. Actually, back then it was like statsd, which actually is awful if you don't know what statsd. It's it sends metrics over UDP, which is lossy, and it'll like do sampling. So like you'll send some metrics, and like maybe like some percentage of them get lost. So that's just like it's built in. Like we're gonna multiply your thing by 10 just in case 10% of them get lost. I don't know. And then so statsd is like a push-based UDP protocol, and then you have what's called Prometheus, which is a scrape-based protocol. Okay, I just searched Prometheus by itself. Prometheus metrics. I guess Prometheus is a movie, but Prometheus metrics is pretty cool. Lately, there's stuff like open tracing, which can export to Prometheus. But basically, Prometheus has this concept called labels. And so when you increment a counter, your service exports like an endpoint. So I have something running locally. Localhost, shoot, what was it? 3000 metrics. This should be in UTF-8. It's not. Okay, I have to change that then. But basically, it exports this text with a bunch of labels, and then it'll give you a value at the end. Any reason why I'm rewriting RainFinder? It's just a project that I like working on, because I don't know, it's been a while since I've touched it, but like from a technology standpoint, I think it's pretty interesting, right? You have like streaming APIs, and you have to like image caching and all that. So when I get bored, I'm just like, I need something to work on, and I have no ideas. A while back, I was looking at like programming like some games, but I had no idea for like a game I wanted to make. So every once in a while, I just come back to this project, be like, how can I rewrite this with more modern technology? So I'm doing that. So I have to fix this actually to make it right UTF-8. But basically, I manually implemented Prometheus. Back then, there was a Prometheus library. It wasn't very good. So actually, this actually is in UTF-8. I think Firefox, or whatever reason, when it receives a content type that doesn't have UTF-8 in it, it'll just not know what to do to display it. So let me look it up. What is the UTF-8 content type? Char set UTF-8. Okay, so we're gonna do this in real time. So I have this is my current rewrite. I haven't pushed it anywhere, but I'm just gonna update this. Let's see. I have it in routes, content type. Okay, put this here. And if I recompile this, it should I think show up correctly. It works fine in Chrome, actually. So I think the compilation is going slow because I'm like running OBS and like a lot of other things. VTube Studio is open, uses up a bunch of CPU. Usually does not take this long to compile. Especially because it's incremental. Actually, Rust released a new version today. I haven't updated yet because I have to like recompile everything. But just compiling. Okay, here we go. Also, I'm gonna explain this later. The way I have it set up, I'm using the unofficial Twitter API, which doesn't require an API key. It's not streaming, but like I have to actually like press enter to get the next batch of tweets. So let's try this again. Bam. Okay, it's in UTF-8. Cool. So I fixed the bug. Let's commit that. We're doing some live coding. So okay, use proper content type. Yesterday I added a gzip compression. Anyway, so where was I? I was talking about Prometheus. Yeah, so it exports a list of all the metrics. So when you get like a raid tweet coming in, it'll tell you how many tweets you have. And actually, I had like the previous project that I had written this with. You can get some pretty cool metrics. Like, let me try to find some images. I took like a screenshot of it a while back. I don't know if I still have it. But it'll show like here's the bosses that people usually tweet about. Here's what percentage of them are in English versus Japanese, and like what level the bosses are and things like that. I'm just gonna scroll through my images. I probably don't have it on this computer. It was a while back when I was on a MacBook. Alright, I don't have it. Anyway. So we got this. So I manually like implemented a lot of stuff. I had like a whole like manually writing out the new line characters. So this is the new project that I have. I'm actually using a metrics library in Rust, which is actually pretty recent. I probably couldn't have used it a year ago because it didn't exist. So I just like manually writing out these Prometheus compatible labels. I had a test for it too. And so this was like really annoying. I had let's see, sources. I copied over the image hash stuff also. Twitter. I was looking through like the tests, and they're actually really thorough. It made it easy to port stuff over from Scala, because although the regex engine is a bit different, it's still largely compatible. So I had this test for like, you know, if you get this tweet with like these new lines and the boss name is here with the image, it should show up parsed this way. Hello, Technobits. I'm doing okay. I'm just like talking to myself mostly. Just because I need to talk about this. Because it's been the only thing I've been thinking about for like the past week. Programming this RaidFinder rewrite. So I have error stuff here. I wrote my custom duration parser because whatever reason it doesn't have it built in. Welcome everyone. Oh, let me check my phone. Oh, I just got a thing from work. I'm not involved. I'm just gonna ignore it. Greetings. Learning code sounds interesting. Yeah, it actually is. It's really cool. I know like a lot of people like at work, they don't tend to program in their free time because it's just like it's their job, and they're like, when I'm done with work, I don't want to program. But for me, I'm like, I love to program. It's my thing that I like to do. And besides drawing, I haven't done much drawing lately. Just because I've been so like into this, but anyway, here's I had a raid handler. So this will take incoming tweets and then just like manage all the internal state. A lot of this logic is really convoluted. And then I feel like when I wrote this, I like over optimized it, like premature optimization. Like I had all this manual like, oh yeah, I'm gonna compute this thing and store it just so I don't have to compute it again. It probably takes like a 1 cycle to compute it. You program at work so you can afford to peacefully program for fun. I think at work, like, although I'm a software developer, lately I haven't been doing much actual programming. It's just been like, because I'm the oldest person at the company in terms of like, not my age. I'm actually not the oldest, but like in terms of having been at the company for the longest on my team. Most people like don't know the legacy code, so they have to like ask me how to do stuff. So a lot of my job now is just like, someone has an issue and they're like, how do you like, what is this? What does this code do? And I'm like, I have no idea either. I'm just gonna look it up. And so I'm just troubleshooting issues. And I haven't written much code. I'm just like, I need to actually program something because I don't know. I'm so bored out of my mind. And I haven't been looking for jobs because I'm lazy. Anyway, I'm mostly getting paid to just like sit around, I guess. Software engineer has a lot of planning and setup. Yeah, but I don't even do that. I'm just like triaging issues. Wolfie senpai. I am like the oldest, the most senpai of my team. So alright, it's water time again. Man, I've just been like, talking non-stop. Alright, all code is legacy code. At some point, yeah. I mean, this code I wrote like a year ago is now legacy because I'm just like copying. So I also had like read-write locks and circular queues and broadcast. It's actually a lot more complicated to do this in Rust than in Scala. But it's also a lot more performant. It's like actually really nice. Because it doesn't use like 500 megabytes of RAM, even though it has like 1 request. The JVM overhead is like a bit absurd. Anyway, so this was the previous rewrite. I could probably like go over the details, but today we're going to talk about the current setup that I have, which is... I could probably like make a diagram of it and it would make more sense, but... Actually, maybe I'll do that. Let me open up Paint. And I will explain to you guys the architecture of GraphQL API. I don't know if I'm going to do this. So here's Twitter. Actually, I should probably make the outlines larger. Here's Twitter. And put here's Grand Blue Fantasy. So a user who's playing Grand Blue Fantasy, they will send their tweet to Twitter. Right. It'll be like, do I have it open? Let's look at I still have the search open. Oh, we got the spam bots. Hi user. The bot is back. Alright, there you go. I need to figure out the CSS for like having the thing not show up. But I don't know. Anyway. So a user will send something like this. And then it'll go to Twitter. Whoops. And then I'll have my service. RaidFinder. Yeah, silence bot. Okay, so we got Twitter, so I'll read from... I don't know how to do this, so it goes like here, like this. But these are like unstructured messages, so I don't know how am I gonna do this. I have like this thing. Let's say this is like a magnifying glass. Shoot, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how diagrams work. So here's a magnifying glass. We're looking at the stream of messages that are coming in. And so this part right here. Oh god, alright. I don't know how to do this. So we have like, you know, level 100 boss, level 200 boss. And they all come in, they're all in one stream. You love to talk, but you're busy with a class project. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really doing anything either. I'm just talking to myself. Okay, so we got this stream of messages coming up. Maybe I'll do it. If I do it this way, it's probably better, right? Move it like here. Yeah, that's probably better. Okay, and then internally, it will break them up into multiple smaller streams. So you'll have like a fake boss. Sometimes people will do fake tweets of like bosses that don't actually exist. And so it'll have to filter them out, but inside the raid finder itself, let's see, I do it like this. So now you have like multiple streams. Here's like the big stream of all the streams. And then like here's the level 100 boss. And then, oh no. Not like that. Oh no. So now you have multiple streams. And they're split up based on boss. So Wolfie heard about what is happening. There's a lot of things happening. The world is a thing. So we got these streams. God, it's annoying to copy this stuff in So now they're all going through. Let's put it like this way. And now users can subscribe to them. So a user will be like, I want to follow all the things for like this level 100 boss. So you'll get all of them. But there's also different languages. So like you'll have the boss name like in Japanese. Also, this is a thing I've noticed. A lot of people when they say Japanese, they'll do like JP. And be like, why do you have to type it in like JA instead of JP? JA is the ISO language code for Japanese. But I think JP is like the country code. So like if we're talking about languages, in programming, you usually use JA instead of JP. For English, it's still EN, but EN doesn't refer to like a country, the language. Anyway, so you have the Japanese language, and then you have like, you know, English one. And then let's say you have like level 100 boss, but it's in English. Like this. Right, so you have to somehow know that these two are actually the same. And so let's say like over here, if you have like level 100 boss, so this is the Japanese stream. And then you have this one in English. But then the names of the bosses are different because you know one of them is I can't talk. One of them is in Japanese, one of them is in English. So at some point you have to be like, okay, I know like this one should be combined with this one. So that happens when you get the image for a boss. So if you look at this, every one of these has an image. I explained this earlier in the stream, but basically I just crop off the top part of this and then I do an image hash to compare them. And so this bottom part's gonna be different, but I ignore that. If the top part of this is the same, and then I parse the boss names, so like 150, whatever. If they're the same level, but in different languages, the image parser will know that they're the same. And then, when that happens, this stream then gets combined with this one. Let me move this over. So we got this stream that has all the combined languages. And then I also maintain like a list of all bosses and all the translations. So like I'll know that this one is the same. So if I go back to my code, let's just start from let's see, the Twitter. So as I mentioned, I'm using a unofficial Twitter API just for like local development, so that it's more, I don't need to register an API key. So there's this quote-unquote secret token that's not actually secret. If you browse the Twitter like HTML source, you'll see this. Everyone just uses the same one. This is the token for not logged in users. So you know how like when you go on the Twitter website, you can still view tweets, you can still search even though you're not logged in. Basically, you use this token, you make a auth request to get guest ID token, and then this user agent is probably just like, so it doesn't think I'm a bot. I don't know if this goes against like Twitter terms of service. I know a lot of people do it, so whatever, it's fine. So I have this search service defined. It basically does the searching of the stream. So this is where you get the token. You call the activate API. And then you scroll down. Once you have a token, then you search this term. And if I go to Firefox, if I search that on Twitter, you'll get the English tweets and the Japanese tweets. There's a lot more Japanese ones because Granblue is more popular in Japan, but so you'll see this format, but you'll also get this one. And then basically the logic that I had here for combining them applies. So you send the guest token. And then you check the status code, and you have like this whole like annoying large response that you have to parse. It basically looks like this. You have a query params, you have this huge nested document with all these different types. And so I'm just like, just parse just to get the image and the tweet parts. So like you parse out the raid ID and the name and all that. Oh yeah, this is where I reject tweets that are not official. So all the tweets that come from the actual Granblue app, you'll see here that the source, instead of like Twitter for web or Twitter for Android or whatever, it'll be from Granblue. So I reject tweets that aren't from there. In this part. And then I parse the tweet. And then I fetch a bunch of stuff, like sometimes I'll show the image URL of the user. Sometimes I will parse a bunch of stuff. And about Granblue Fantasy through the off-brand. What is that? I don't know what that is. Alright, so then you got, then you sort the tweets. And then you return them. And then they get sent to, so this is the Twitter search API. If I go to the main function of my server, this is where I set, oh no. Okay, service builder, I could talk about this tower stuff at another point. Did I study 2 careers? I just do programming. Oh, off-brand is hentai? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. So now we have, let's see, where do I set up the Twitter stuff? Twitter. Search? I like when I search for the word search. It's funny. Okay, so here's where I create the Twitter search service. And then I have a service, every time you call it, it'll fetch the new page of tweets. The other version I had was streaming. I'll eventually add that, but for now, I have this manual thing where I press enter to get the next page. And so every time I press enter, it'll call the search API, it'll get the next list of tweets, and then it will push them into what I call the RAID handler. The RAID handler is what handles all... Okay, that's pretty... I don't know how to name things. Just like, this thing handles RAID tweets. I'm gonna call it the RAID handler. So I push the tweets into the RAID handler, and that thing handles the raids. If we go into RAID handler, let's see this part here. Handler. It handles like subscriptions and boss names and all that. And so I have what's called a boss map. Yeah, I called the project Granblue RaidFinder. It's what you use to find the raids. So here's a boss entry. It has the parse boss information, like the boss name, boss level, language, all that. And then I have a history of like the recent tweets that you've seen for the boss. So it's a circular queue because I only want to keep like the last 20 or whatever. And then I have a broadcast for if you subscribe to it, it'll send you the tweets. Arc is an automatic reference counter in Rust. Basically means this thing can be safe. I cannot talk. This thing can be cloned and shared between threads. Basically just like garbage collection in other languages, but opt-in. And then have boss metrics. So when you push a tweet into the RAID handler, it'll extract the language of the tweet, it'll increment the metrics. So like whenever it sees like a RAID tweet for a boss, it'll say, okay, I've seen one more. And then you can get cool graphs. And then you add the thing to the history. And then this is the part where you merge 2 boss entries. Which is kind of the logic is really convoluted here. Actually, let me go over the oh god. So when it encounters a new boss, we have something called the boss subscriber. Yeah, this code is a bit hard to read because it does a lot of stuff. And there's a few things that are like optimizations. Okay, new entry from tweet, this one. This one, if the RAID handler has not seen the boss before, you'll make a new boss entry. And then you'll create it. And then you'll push the boss entry to have like a subscriber queue of boss updates. So then the image hasher, which is what I described for like... It has 144p, oh no. I mean, okay, what if I zoom in? Oh no, it's huge. Wow, look at that. What happened to my electronics projects? They're still in my house. I don't have I I don't know, I haven't touched them. They're probably like really dusty. Anyway, so now we got programming. So if you haven't, like, oh god, I can't. Okay, it's time to drink more water. Hold on. All right, so if you haven't seen the tweet before, then push it into the queue. You create a new boss entry, and you'll have the image hasher will listen to this queue. So here's where I define the image hasher. I create an image hasher from the hashing service, and then for every boss update, I'll fetch what's called the canonical name, which is like if we don't know if we have like the English name and the Japanese name, the canonical name that I put here is basically like if you have the Japanese name, it's that one, otherwise it's the English name. But every time you get a new boss update, update the image hash of it. And then I have the hasher in here. So the hasher service basically just it will do an HTTP request to the URL. It'll get the image hash and return it basically. And then I have the hash updater, which will, what it does is it updates the hashes. So we have a hash updater. If the boss needs an image hash update, then if it doesn't need it, I'll just do nothing. If we do need it, we'll parse the URL from the image. And then we will update it, and then when we get the image back, we'll just call the raid handler to update the image hash. And then in the raid handler image hash update, this update image hash function, it will check if we already have the image hash. If it's already set, just skip it. Otherwise, this is where we check if we have another boss that has the same image hash. So oh my god. Oh no, I haven't talked in a long time. In a week at least. Okay, so now we have the matching hash. And then if they have the same hash and they have the same level, but the boss name is different and they're in different languages. Actually, do I check for the language? Hold on. The image hash is the same as this one. Oh, okay. If the name is different, it implies the language is different. So if they're different, then you have a matching boss entry. So this is where we combine the English and Japanese bosses. So this part's the new entry. We will merge the two bosses. And then we will update the image hash to be this one. Oh no, it's a spam bot. Be gone. Alright, so now that you have the updated boss, the new entries here, and then we have, we insert them into the boss list. So now we have the new boss. And then now they're combined. And if we go back into the main, let's see, we got oh, we also have this cleanup thing. So currently every 15 minutes, it will clean up. So sometimes the HTTP request can fail. So if you try to fetch the image, but your internet goes down or whatever, you need a way to tell it to like refetch the images, because otherwise it could get into this weird state where like you get a boss that doesn't have a hash and will never compute it because it failed and we never retried it. So every 15 minutes, well, it'll go through the boss list, find any boss that doesn't have a hash, and then try to refetch it. And then it'll just run through it and do everything. It'll also clean up bosses that don't exist. So GraphQL has what's called, like, I guess event bosses that they only show up like once, and then they'll be like showing up for like 2 weeks or something. After those 2 weeks are over, you'll never see them again. So if you just keep them around, your boss list is gonna be like, you'll have like 1,000 bosses and only like a few of them are relevant. So there's a cleanup for like, if you haven't seen a boss in 30 days, just delete it. So every 15 minutes, it'll go do this cleanup task. And then we have, so here's what I have basically. The window at the top is for compiling it. At the bottom, we have what's actually running it. So let me clear this. If you do cargo run, you'll see here we get logs for updated the boss image hash. Actually, I could log the actual tweets we're getting. Should I do that? Yeah, let's do that. So I'm logging the image hashes, but not actually logging like when we've found a matching boss. Maybe I should do that. Let me add info. Let's go to the raid handler, and let's see where we do merge. If we merge the two bosses, where do we actually call merge? We call merge merge boss, merge entry here. Okay, if we have a matching entry, we put it here. New entry. It's the merge entry. Okay, this one. So to use tracing info. So we found the matched. I always have to like wonder like how I'm gonna log this thing. Found matching boss. So we have, let's see. So if we log the Japanese boss name, we'll do merged entry dot boss dot name. So let me do this. So we have the name, and then some name Japanese. Yeah, Rust has these pattern matches which are pretty cool. So we have the name dot. I think this is common in a lot of languages nowadays. Okay, so we got this. I think this should compile. Okay, so I think that should work. Wow, compiled first try? No way, no it didn't. Never mind, I failed. Move occurred because, okay, borrow it. Okay, yes, it's true. It's true, true. I should borrow. And again, it's compiling slower than usual because I have stuff, because I'm running OBS and VTube Studio. No, let's do it this way. Also, this confusing looking sigil here tells you to use the display implementation. I have what's called the atom empty static atom set. This is actually what's called a cache string. So the thing about this is that with the bosses, you'll get a lot of duplicate strings basically because you'll have a lot of the same boss repeated over and over again. And rather than storing a unique string every time, I do a string cache. So we'll only store it in memory once. Every time you can reference it, just like look it up by reference. Hello, welcome. I think that compiled. Okay, that compiled. So if we run it, when we merge a boss, every time we should get a log message that shows us. Man, it's so slow when I'm doing and I have to stream at the same time. I think like VTube Studio uses a lot of CPU also. I'm just waiting. Okay, there we go. So it's gonna load a bunch of stuff. And so here we have like a mix of like Japanese boss names and English boss names. Like you have this Metatron, Akasha. Most of them are in Japanese because, you know, Twitter. If I press enter, it'll load the next page. Probably load a bunch of bosses. And then at some point, okay, here we go. The thing we just added. Found matching boss. So we see that this level 120 Shiva is the same as the same thing in Japanese, which is cool. So we press it a few more times, we'll probably see a few more translations. Yep, here we have level 120 Horus is the same as this other level 120 Horus. So it's actually really cool to see this come in real time. Just like, because the way I program it, I'm just like, I don't want to manage a list of bosses manually. This is what people have been doing for a long time, and I haven't updated GraphQL API in like 5 years, but it's still usable as long as you have an active Twitter API token. It'll update the boss names automatically. It'll find the matching boss translations, and it's cool. Also, we're using structured logging. Normally, when you do logging, like by default, you're just logging like a regular string, right? With structured, oh god, with structured logging, you're logging like a message as long as like a bunch of fields. So if we wanted to log this in JSON, it'll include the date as a field. It'll include the boss name as a separate field, which is a lot nicer if you're using it in centralized logging. If you send it to like Kibana or whatever, you can aggregate on, you can search on these field names instead of having to do like a full text search. So anyway, there's that. There's the raid thing. And then I have a thing where like you can fetch the list of more recent tweets. So behind the scenes, this is actually, if I wanted to log, let's see, if I can log every tweet that comes in, I could probably do like a debug thing. Let's see, push, maybe do push tweet. We got this tweet here. Well, let me just do it temporarily. This is the first time I realized that Wolfie is a dude. I've been along. I mean, I've been around for a long time. Actually, well, yeah, I don't tell people that I stream usually. But I mean, I put my pronouns in my bio because people don't know. I'm just like, okay. So here's tweet. Every time we get a tweet, we're going to print it. Oh shoot, okay. This debug thing is something that Rust added a few months ago, or maybe like a year ago, I don't know. But it's like, or 2 years ago. It's pretty recent. But you know how usually you'll do like print line debugging? Usually you'll do like, you know, print line, hey, I got this message, and then you'll like print out like, you do like, I got message A and B, and then you have like, okay, and I'm in this context, right? In function F, right? Rust has a thing called the debug macro, which will, the arguments that you pass it, it'll tell you the line number. It'll include the original thing you put in there. Wolfie isn't a cute girl like every other person on the internet with an anime profile picture. Oh no, my immersion. Sorry, I've seen your art and finally got to track you down. Oh yeah. No problem. I actually don't make it very known that I stream, but it is on my Twitter profile. Well, not this channel, but like the fact that I'm a guy. All right, so now we're printing out every tweet we get. It'll be shown. So if you see here this macro, it'll show like the debug implementation of this. Yeah, the debug macro is so good. Like going to another language where you have to do like print line, it kind of sucks. You're telling me toaster is not an actual toaster with it's not actually what's her name from Tokyo Seven Sisters with a toaster on her head? My immersion is ruined. Alright, so yeah, we got the debug macro. Here are the actual tweets that we're getting. Every time I press enter, it'll load a bunch of these. So these are parsed tweets. We got this one. We got the username, user ID, avatars. And here's where I'm talking about the boss name. We have a cached boss name. And then we have the image URL. A lot of these URLs are repeated. So every time we get like a boss tweet that has this image, we don't store a separate string because it's going to be the same thing. So we just store a reference to it in some like global string cache. You've seen tons of artwork with the same types of models used in Hololive and Nijisanji. Is that your artwork? It is, yeah. It is. It is me. I've drawn them. Oh, Momoka Serizawa. Okay. Meta programming. Okay, yeah. So we got this. Every time I press enter, you're gonna see more tweets. And then if we encounter an unknown boss, it's just gonna like load the boss images and then print them when we found a match. So that's pretty cool. And then we go back to main. There's another thing that I added recently, which is the initial GraphQL implementation. So like what good is it if you get these boss tweets but there's no way to like actually have a user see them, right? So I have this GraphQL implementation. There's a spec with GraphQL called Relay, and it's like a Facebook library that they use for GraphQL. And it tells you how to do stuff like pagination, and it's standardized. So if you have a Relay compliant GraphQL server, it makes it really easy to write front-end applications. You just tell it what data you need, and the Relay library will just fetch them for you and just like do pagination, do caching and all that. So I have this Relay compatible. Actually, let me just show it to you in the browser. So I have this server open. It's running, listening on port 3000. And here's the routes file of Axum. I have a metrics endpoint, which I show you guys. And then the GraphQL endpoint. They also added cores and compression. But the GraphQL schema, basically, if I open up Firefox, if I go to this GraphQL Explorer, I go, let me clear all this first. So it's connected to my localhost instance. Actually, let me make this bigger. So we go to the root. Basically, this Apollo sandbox connects to my localhost. It'll load the GraphQL schema. If I put the query in here, let's say I want to query, like, I want to fetch a list of all bosses. So with GraphQL Relay, there's a standard for pagination. They call it connections. And then you go, so give me like the first 5 bosses. See down here we have, I clicked first. It'll generate this query. And then it'll say like, give me the first 5 bosses. And then I want the, for every boss, I want to get the boss name in English and Japanese. And then also give me the canonical image URL. And then also give me the level. And then I go back. There's also cursors for pagination. Probably not going to get into that, but that's something you can do. So this before and after tells you like, okay, if you've got the first 5 bosses, so let's do page info. There's also has previous page, has next page, the cursors, which tell you how to do pagination. So if I execute this query, this is actually, so this is generated based on the stuff that I clicked. And so when I execute the query, it's gonna return like all the fields that I requested. So I asked it for 5 bosses. Here's 5. It's not really verbose actually. So it has all this nesting, but a non-relay compliant thing, you can actually get away with not doing this. But adding these makes it easier to do automated client-side data fetching, which is nice. So we got this. Here's 5 bosses. And let me just show one of them. So here's one of them. It's all the data that I requested. Since we don't know the English name of this boss, it's null. And here's the image of it. If I open it. Wow. Oh, what does it say? It says, control click. Okay, control. That's... What? Well, let me just copy and paste the URL then. Here's the boss that we don't know the English name of. And then if we go back to my terminal. So I have the thing where I have to like press enter to load the next page of tweets. So it's gonna load them. We got some more bosses. It found a bunch of them actually. So now we have like a few of these. Let's see if we can find like the one with the English name. So if we go back here and we execute the query again, I think we'll get different results. Okay, so here's one that we have the English and Japanese name of. Level 100 Colossus is the same as in English it's called Colossus Omega, but in Japanese it's Colossus Magna. And we've seen that it's a level 100 boss. And so basically all I have to do now is like add some more fields to it, add the list of tweets. And here's the cursor stuff that I've had. I'm gonna change this to be slightly different because this is not actually an ID. I have to like base64 encode this and like put a thing to disambiguate it. So we got, if we want to go to the next page, we can start pagination from here. If we go to the query, boss connection after. So you see how this, actually no, let's start from this one. Let's say we got this list of bosses and we want to start pagination from this one. So we got 5 bosses. If we do after, and then we put that string in here. The next page, the first thing we expect to get is this boss. Or wait a second. No, that's the last boss. let's do this one. The level 100 Colossus is the last boss we've seen. So if we do this request, we expect to see this boss as the first one to show up. And I think it is. And there it is. And then I'll just go press enter a bunch more times just to get more bosses. My guy, you earned my like and sub. You're a talented guy. Well, thank you. I don't know, I do a lot of stuff besides just art. I think a lot of people like know me from art, but some people know me from GraphQL API, the old version. I think most people just know me from art. So we got this. It's pretty cool. So now I just have to add a bunch more stuff. We also have to add subscriptions. So GraphQL has subscriptions where if you get events in real time, you can get them sent to you via WebSockets. So that's something I have to look into adding. We can look into adding some new fields, just like as an experiment, and just live coding. So let's go to, let's see, where I define the GraphQL schema. This is where I defined all these fields. Oh, you can't see this. Here. So this is the root query, and then the list of bosses. And this is kind of annoying. It's auto-formatted because the line is really long, so it looks weird, but basically I wrote this like custom pagination thing. It's actually kind of weird. So given an iterator, I wanted to like avoid iterating through this iterator like multiple times. So I found that a vector in Rust implements exact size iterator, double-ended iterator, and clone. So I'm cloning the iterator, and I like go through manually. I do the manual pagination. I think the relay spec describes how you should do pagination, and I basically just copied it and implemented it, but to avoid multiple iterations. So some of this code is repeated. I could probably like make it less copy paste, but I think for now it's fine. And then I have all these tests for how to actually check that the pagination works fine. I actually copied this from the previous setup that I had. The last time I tried to rewrite this, I added a bunch of tests because I wasn't sure that I had pagination working properly. And so I'm glad I did, because now I have them, that I can just copy paste them to this new project. And I actually rewrote it. And this is actually much simpler than the way I had it before. Okay, so we got that pagination. If we want to add some new fields, so let's look at what fields we have on both. We have name, image, level, last seen at, and image hash. I don't think we need to expose the last seen at or image hash, because those are like internal details, so I think these are fine. But we want to return the list of tweets. We could either have this as another connection to do pagination, but I think tweets are kind of ephemeral, because I'm only keeping like the last 20 of them. So I'll probably avoid doing connections for this and just return like a straight up like list of tweets. So if I go to let's see, so the tweet is here, and in the boss entry is where I store the list. Boss entry has the boss that we just described, and then the history has the list of tweets. So if I want to add the tweets to as part of the boss, I'll just go to schema. Actually, it might still be good to add connections for this, because then you can specify how many tweets you want. If you don't need like all 20 of them, it might be useful to add that as a parameter. So let's see, we go to relay, no, go to schema. And so a boss node contains boss node. It's an arc of boss entry. So if we want to add like the list of tweets, we can do that here. We need to define the tweet as a GraphQL object type. So let's do that here. And then we basically just implement object for it. I'm just like copying and pasting stuff. Okay, let's see what fields we have on tweet. We have all these things. So we have the raid ID. This is a string. Should I give it a lifetime? Let's just do that. By the way, how do you animate the character you have? It's live 2D cubism. I'm using a program called VTube Studio. Basically, it takes your webcam and it maps them to motions. Anyway, so here's the raid ID. Let's just see if that works. I don't know if it does. So self dot 0 dot does this work? I don't know. I hope this compiles. It does not. Oh, this should go. It's like that, I think, right? No, I have it's an arc of tweet actually. So you literally move, then the character moves as well. I mean, if you watch VTubers, like if you're like a Hololive and Nijisanji fan, it's basically the same thing, except I think they use a different program. They have like their Nijisanji and Hololive, they have their own custom Live 2D app that they use. A lot of indie VTubers use VTube Studio. Okay, so here's the tweet. And then so let's do it this way. So we have this, and you got to get the list of bosses. So self.0.tweets. Wait, hold on. History, and they have a tweet history. Let's see. Tweet history. Okay, you get the iterator, and then you clone dot collect. I think that should return. Oh wait, you have to map it. Okay, it's like this, right? I think this compiles. Normally the type checker is a lot faster. Okay, now that compiled. That actually compiled. Okay. That's not supposed to happen. It's weird. Okay, let's just try adding a bunch of fields. ID of the tweet. Does this work? I don't believe this. This is not supposed to work. Okay, self.0 dot tweet ID. Should I? Does this work? I think it actually works. It actually works. Okay. It's official. I'm gonna learn a lot from you, Sensei. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, VTube Studio and OBS running at the same time. Actually, let's check. It's taken. Oh, Steam. We got 300% CPU used by OBS. 186. We got VTube Studio. Using all my CPU. Anyway, I don't know. There's it. Let's just add a bunch of stuff and check in GraphQL. I'll see if it shows up. I could probably have better descriptions for this. Also, these are what's called lifetimes in Rust. Since we're borrowing this string, we have to give it a lifetime. So we're telling it that the string that we're returning has the same lifetime as the tweet itself. So it knows that this string cannot outlive this data, because if this gets dropped, this string is no longer valid. So username self, we're returning a string. And this is, we're using a smart string here. This is a separate Rust library that does inlining of short strings. As you know, most Twitter usernames, I think, are maximum like 20-something characters. And so a smart string, a string in Rust, I think is 4 bytes. There's that 32, it's 32 bits. And so any string that's shorter than like 31 or something gets inlined. Because the size of a pointer is 4 bytes. Actually, is it 4? I don't know, it might be 8. I forget. I forgore. They got username here. And then let's look for the... No, I think this is fine for now. Let's just try it. Hopefully this works. So if we reload the GraphQL schema, we should be able to load a list of tweets. Also, this is not an IDE. This is actually just this is just Vim. 8 bytes on 8. Oh yeah, it's what is it? If you're on 64-bit system, I think it's different. Okay, 64 bits is 8 bytes, so yeah, it would be 8. Anyway, so let's recompile this. Oh yeah, the thing at the top is actually, this is a... So Rust has 2 different checks. One of them is just called check, the other one is compile. Check is a lot faster, it just does type checking, it doesn't actually like emit any executables. And it runs a lot faster, but at the moment it's still slow because all the stuff I have running on my system. But anyway, it's compiling. This is where, when it's compiling, you just go do something else. Oh, it's running, okay. So the schema should be updated. Let's open Firefox. I think this exporter, or this GraphQL sandbox, has a thing where you can have it constantly listen for schema updates. So if I click this thing, it should reload the schema. And then if I go back to the query, the nodes. So now I have this new thing that should return a list of tweets. And then for every tweet, it added this field. So if I wanted to return all these fields, it should do that. Oh my god, it actually worked. Okay, so every time we request a boss, we have the list of tweets that we've seen for the boss. We have the raid ID, we have the tweet ID. I think this should actually make it into a string, because I know JavaScript can't handle longs above a certain length. So I think the GraphQL spec actually says for longs you should actually stringify them, but I'll do that at some point. And then we have the username of the person that tweeted it. Cool, it works. So now if we just we go back and then we just get a bunch more tweets, we should see a few more tweets in the list. Okay, let's rerun this query. So this boss has 1 tweet. What if I tell it to return... Let's just return 10 bosses. Let's return 50. I don't know. In GraphQL, you can also just... like... Oh man, I cannot speak fast enough. You can also specify what's called query complexity. So if you can limit the amount of nesting you can do and the amount of items returned. So like for any malicious client that requests like 1,000 items with like a huge payload, and then they do a bunch of nesting, on the server side you can detect that and just like not return stuff. So anyways, now we're requesting 50. Let me just press enter a few more times just to get more tweets. Okay, so probably like some of these should at least have multiple tweets returned. Here we go. This one has 2 tweets. What is this boss? This boss is Yugudorash. I don't know. Oh, Yggdrasil. We got this boss that has 2 tweets. And let's try doing a date time. I know this library has support for date times. I think it stringifies them. Let's do created at. See, self dot created at. I think I have to actually enable a feature for this. I think it'll fail to compile because it can't oh, datetime? Okay, I have to actually import it. I expect this to fail. It'll tell me that I should import a library. Yep, okay, so now we go into our cargo. This is where we specify all our dependencies. And so what I want is for the GraphQL thing, I think there's a feature. I'm just gonna guess. It's probably gonna be called chrono. Features equals chrono. And so this will enable, this should enable the chrono feature of this library, which will allow me to serialize date times. It's taking a bit longer this time because if you add a feature, it has to recompile the dependency. Because there's all these branches that come up that basically everything that depends on it now needs to be recompiled. Okay, it's gone. You see, it's like it's compiling the crate that I just updated. Love to compile things. It's the, have you seen the XKCD comic of like 2 guys just sword fighting and someone's like, aren't you guys supposed to be doing work? And they're like, oh yeah, my code is compiling. That's this. My code is compiling and I'm streaming and I'm using YouTube Studio. Okay, there we go. It type checked, so now I have to actually compile it. So now I should be able to see when the tweet was created. How are you guys doing today? I noticed my YouTube Studio model, like the mouth tracking is a bit messed up. Probably because like I'm like doing too much stuff that it can't keep up. I'm running too much stuff on my it's compiling and then it can't pick up my mouth movement. Oh, it's going. How long have I been a programmer? I did some programming when I was I think officially, I mean I majored in like electrical engineering with like on a computer engineering track, but before then, like when I was 13, I asked my mom to buy me like a web hosting thing. I did a bunch of scripting with like IRC and PHP websites and stuff like that back in the day, but it was mostly just like copy paste of stuff. When I actually got to college, they like taught us actual programming. I guess that was like 10 years ago, maybe. I don't know. I graduated college 2013, I think. So I think that's when I got my first actual job as a programmer. Anyway, well, we fetched a bunch of bosses. Okay, let's go back to Firefox. If we reload this, we should see, there we go, it just showed up created at. It's pretty cool. So if we add that, we should be able to see like when the boss was made. Or when the tweet was made. And look at that, we got the created at timestamp. That's cool. Also, I think this library automatically does camel casing for me. Because, this was not camel case originally. This reminds me of how I started programming at like 10 years. You programmed at 10? Like, you asked your parents for an introduction to Java? Why did you choose Java? Is it because you wanted to make a... I remember back then, like, Swing was a thing. Swing, Java... People don't use Java for, like, desktop apps anymore, I guess. Anyway, yeah, I did PHP as a... Don't do PHP, kids. It sounds like a drug if you put it that way. PHP, never again. But yeah, PHP was pretty popular back in the day. Because you could buy web hosting, all of them had PHP pre-installed. I didn't really understand how it worked. I didn't understand the whole CGI model until much later. I didn't understand the concept of like a web server, actually. It's just like, I assumed it was like everything was file system based on like how all web hosts had like Apache or Nginx set up. Mostly Apache. Unironically programming at 10. Whoa. Oh yeah, ActionScript for Flash. Yeah, that was the thing. Wait, I remember for you did the, what is it, note drop with Moshi a long time ago, or Chromatica or whatever it's called. That was Flash, right? The old days of toaster programming rhythm games. Yeah, Java. I also learned C++ in college. Anyway, here's the timestamp. It's pretty cool. UTC. Yeah, that was like 10, 13 years ago. I don't know. Long time. Anyway, this is cool. I can probably commit this. So here we're logging. Oh, I have to remove the debug statement. Add. Okay. Oh, but I want to do a connection for this. Actually, no. Let me just commit this. Oh, I have to remove all the stuff I commented out too. Let's see, tweets. Raid handler schema. This one. Well, let's just add all the other fields first before we delete this. Okay, let's add the avatar URL. Do people call it avatar nowadays? I feel like people usually call it like user icon or like profile picture. Back in the day on forums, we called them avatars. Also, how did I come up with my character design? When did it start blowing up with studios? I've never officially done anything for Niji Sanji. I've just drawn fan art, and I guess they use them on their streams, but for Hololive, that was back in April Fool's Day last year. Is when the first time I did like official Hololive stuff. I don't know, it's just fan art. I'm just a guy. Yeah, Toaster is answering the question. Yeah, just yeah, what Toaster said, basically. Alright, I don't know if I'm gonna call this avatar or like whatever. I'll just call it avatar for now. Oh yeah, Pomu. Yeah, okay, yeah, Pomu's emotes. I forgot about that. Yeah, I did Ame's and Pomu's emotes. I guess yeah, that is official. Yeah, so I guess that counts. Other than that, though, it's mostly just fan art. Anyway, so we got avatar, we got boss name. I don't know if I want to add that. Text. There's text. Okay, text. So this one's optional. Not all raids have actual text associated with them. So let's see, it's an option of smart string. I'm gonna do as dref. This one probably doesn't compile. Probably right. Expected string found option. Oh, avatar URL is also optional. Let's make this optional. Basically, all of the small hologram is based on ball-based fan art. Oh yeah, the 3D models are based on my art. It's true. I haven't been very involved lately. I don't know. Got other stuff to do. Expected string found string. Okay, avatar URL as what do I do? Avatar URL dot map as ref. Probably this, right? I don't know. Expected type signature. Oh my god. This is the annoying part about Rust. Sometimes you have to like deal with you have an option of a string, but you need an option of a reference to a string, and then you have to like figure out how to do it. It should just work. Alright, so we got yeah, I thought as dref. Well, we have an actual Rust programmer here. I tried doing it as dref. Every time I have to like look it up. Oh no, this is because okay, as dref should work for text, I think. Wait, GraphQL 159, okay. It works for, okay, so this one, avatar URL is a string. So that should work. Yeah, the other method. Okay, the other method, text is because it's using smart string. Okay, so that's different. This one, smart string is the optimized version for short strings. And so this one should, I want to dereference the smart, is it as deref? I should probably look it up. I could also just do like, I could just do it this way. It's probably a better way to do it. Whatever, this is not the best way. Smart string should still deref. Wait, did I not try it? Hold on. Oh no, because it's an option. Does this work? I don't know. Did I not try this? Okay, maybe that works. Okay, that worked. Never mind. I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, so as dref does work. So now we got text, language. Oh, we can put language in here. I don't think language. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I don't know what I was doing before. I was trying to map into the option and then try to get that as ref. For some reason it doesn't work. Alright, so we got the image. Wait, image URL. What is that? Oh, we don't need to expose the image URL because that's associated with the boss. So I think this should be fine. Let's see. So we should add a to-do to add boss name and language. I have to define a language as an enum that can be returned. I would have to look into that. I haven't added a GraphQL enum yet. So also these docs should be better. Okay, let's see what fields we're missing. We have raid ID, username, user ID. Oh, we don't have user ID. We have user ID. ID of the user. Okay, we have user ID. We have avatar URL. Boss name. Okay, we have a to-do for that. Created at. Text. Language. Okay, we have everything basically. The version, what I was trying to do. Oh, as ref. I always so as ref on an option turns. Hold on. So as ref, if I have like a option of string, I think so. The as ref would turn it into an option of this. I always forget what as ref does on option. Like if I have no, that turns the inner thing into an option, and then if I do, oh right, okay, right. So I had this, and then turns it into this, right? And then if I call map string as, okay, so I have this as reference, and then the inside becomes, okay. Yeah, I always forget. It's always like confusing to me. Someday I'll actually remember it. I didn't expect to have an actual Rust programmer in chat. That's like pretty rare. Okay, so let's see. That compiles. Let's just try rerunning it. So now we should have all these new fields. I also have to update the documentation. Actually, in my previous version, so actually this tab here is the last time I wrote this. I actually have better documentation. Twitter, I called it icon URL in this one. What does Twitter actually call it? Let's look at the tweet. Tweet. They called it a profile image URL. Okay, let's just call it profile image. I'm just gonna make it consistent with what Twitter calls it. I didn't expect to be here either. Yeah. It's cool to see programmers. Wait, this was profile image, what do I call it? Avatar? Yeah, so that should work. We have this running version. Okay, so let's reload this. Okay, I was I was muted. Oh my god, I've been talking for like... Shoot. Okay, I muted, Let's go over what I forget, when was the last thing I said? Oh god. Just muted. Alright, there's probably like 2 minutes of silence. Basically, okay, I was looking at my log. What was the last thing you guys heard? I don't remember. No, alright, so I was looking at, shoot. I said I wanted to add a better log message for this. I'm just adding to-dos that will probably never be addressed. Oh yeah, let's... Twitter username. Text. Tweet, okay, this should be date, tweet creation date. Am I gaming? You can't understand. This is a high-level pro strats. We got a professionals in chat can understand what I'm doing. Oh, anyway, I think this should be good. Add tweets as GraphQL type. Okay, so I think that should be good for this one. But let's add pagination for this. Oh shoot, I'd have to add cursor types, which is going to be annoying. Let's not do that. I'll do that some other time. I'm gonna drink some more water. Hold on. And this time I will remember to unmute myself after I'm done. Actually, what if I just don't mute? I don't know. Does the lifetime parameter on employee tweet serve any purpose? I think I had it. Oh, actually, it doesn't. I think it doesn't. Before I had it as oh no, this one. Actually, yeah, might not actually need it. I don't know. Let's try it. I think it might have been because the object annotation requires it to have an actual lifetime, but this could have been an old version of okay, maybe it's not actually needed. Okay, never mind. That's a good call. Yeah, I remember. I know for like async trait, it requires you to specify the lifetime explicitly, I think. So I assumed that this one would, but I don't think. Yeah, it turns out not actually needed. I should probably delete this. We have actual code review, like live code review in chat right now. So if this compiles, I should just okay, that works. Cool. Okay, do I need it here? I guess I don't need it here. This, well, I don't need it here. I think, yeah, I still need it in this one, I think. Because the type takes a parameter. But for this one, I don't need it here. Wait, okay, so this one, I don't, wait, do I need it here? I don't know. I think I still need it here. Right, because this one needs... Okay, this one is needed. I always forget, when can you use like a lifetime of underscore? Sometimes you can't use it. Yeah, oh wait, this does work. Does it? Yeah, I was thinking that, okay. So yeah, this one... Okay, you just basically said what, what I was thinking. You have this. But does this one... Is this one needed? Oh wait, so this one works? No, it doesn't. This one doesn't work. Yeah, I'm basically pair programming. This is like pair programming with a... It's allowed in return position, Yeah, yeah. But for the I need it in this one, right? There's no way to get rid of it here. They're always necessary? Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. So here, this one. Disallow in return position would have multiple references. Okay, so this one should work then, right? If I do it this way. For boss node, because there's only one lifetime in the... Okay, so that does work. So I don't need it here. And so then I can remove from here. I remember when they added lifetime elision. It was elision? I don't know how to pronounce it. It was like in Rust 2018, right? Or at some point they added Rust 2018 edition, one of them. At some point they added it and I never got used to it. I was using the old way a long time. Okay, so this should work. Do I have any other lifetimes? I think that's it. Well, alright, that's good then. Now I can get rid of all these unnecessary lifetimes. Oh, you picked it up in 2019. Okay. Yeah, there's like stuff that was added a while back, and I was used to the old way of doing it. I know there's a bunch of like new features that I'm still not used to. I mean, this is not even new anymore. It's like, it's pretty old. Okay, git commit, okay. That should be good. Cool, this was actually productive then. Actually, like some nice code review. Okay, let's see, what else? I think that's it. Oh yeah, I wanted to add, at some point I want to add base 58 encoding for IDs. So for, in the relay spec, every node has what's called a unique ID that you can request in the base query. So they usually have something like async node. And then you just give it a like random node ID, and it can refer to anything. Like if you have bosses as a node, and you have a tweet as a node, they should all have unique IDs. And usually what people do is like, they'll have something like, you know, the string, and then like whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then they'll like base 64 encode this. And then that becomes the node ID. If you have like a tweet, like tweets dot whatever. And then when you pass in the encoded version to the query, they'll just decode it, find out that you're asking for a boss, and then they'll just return the node for you. I don't know if I really need this because what is it? The tweets are ephemeral, so they don't actually, they only exist in the context of a boss. If the boss like gets more tweets, I don't know if I need to actually add a connection for this, but I don't know. Probably fine. I added it in the previous version that I wrote for this, and it seemed okay, but I might not actually need it. I also haven't pushed this anywhere. This is just local. Because I already have another repo with the same name. I have to like move it somewhere else or rename it. But anyway, we got, since this one, we renamed Avatar to, oh god, my voice. Okay, time to drink more water again. So I added profile image, which replaces Avatar. And yeah, so there it is. It's my avatar spazzing out because I'm drinking water. Okay, so that's cool. Do people still use the term spazzing out? Is that Is that still allowed? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I think it's good. We good. So what I still have to add, I still have to add subscriptions. And what else? What did I have in this other version? I have, oh yeah, node IDs. Have to improve that a bit. Nodes. Oh yeah, in the previous version of this library, I was using Juniper instead of async GraphQL. And this required you to implement the connections and all that manually. You have to like specify edges and all that. I switched over to the async GraphQL library, which handles that for you. It's a lot nicer because I don't have to like do all this stuff. Also, hello, Engineer Gaming. I'm not actually gaming today. Let's see, I wonder, do the documentation, does it put, I know in Rust, when you do documentation, sometimes you have to like put a period at the end of it, and then in the Rust docs it'll like remove it. Sometimes I'm like not consistent with that. Some places I use a period, sometimes I don't. Just add it. I'm just gonna add it. Name of the boss. I'm just gonna git fix up. Alright, so we're good. I'm gonna stream for another can't talk. I'm gonna stream for like another 5 to 10 minutes. I don't know. I don't think I'll do any more live coding for this session, but if anyone has questions or things you want to talk about, unrelated to just coding. Otherwise, I'm just gonna exist. Let's go to room. What the? Firefox. We're back in the room. The royalty-free Ogumono house that every VTuber loves to break into. But I have my own fish tank here. Yeah, productive stream today. I didn't actually expect to actually have code review to actually improve my code quality this stream. We caught some things. You tried to use a YouTube membership emote to stream that profile thing and it doesn't work. What? Are you, when you saved it, did you save it as an HTML? Like, I know there's multiple options for saving it. Actually, let me just check. I don't know. Maybe they changed some stuff. YouTube's always changing things. I might have to redo it. If only they had just like an actual page that just showed the actual emotes. I don't have to like scrape their I don't know. Like when you the page changed. But like did you okay, I can just try it. Let me just try it. Let's go to Pomu Rainpuff channel. Let's go to slash membership. Let's save the page. Save it as pomu.html. Webpage HTML only. Yep. Well, okay, so I saved it. Let's go to temp. Let's run does this work? Oh, the structure of the data actually changed. Oh no. Okay, let's try it. I'll have to recompile. Wait a second. Okay. I guess it's I'm recompiling it. You can't see. Oh my god, my model is lagging. You can see. Oh no. It's compiling everything. Okay, well, I'm compiling the YouTube emotes project. Wow, look at the lag in OBS. I should probably just use the pre-compiled version. I just have it saved as a... Because I updated my Rust version locally, and it has to rebuild everything now. Well, within the next few minutes, we'll find out whether this still works. Oh yeah, I also added a Stream Deck page for Twitch emotes. I don't actually have a custom plugin for that, for generating them, but since I'm on Twitch now more often. Let's see, did it finish compiling? No, it's still compiling. Okay, let me add let me show. Configure Stream Deck. Okay, let's add window capture. Stream. Oh, it's already. What? Did I already? Okay, Stream Deck. Where is the window? This one? Okay. This is my Stream Deck now. I have the emotes for channels, but now I have a Twitch one. Because on Twitch you can... Whoops, what did I just do? You can use your emotes on other channels. So they're all on one page. So here's my emotes. On the bottom we got some that I use sometimes. We got PogChamp. We got the Karagi emotes. You got Wolfie. I don't stream on Twitch. I just uploaded my my avatar, my emotes. Just because I happen to have affiliate status. Okay, did it finish compiling? Let's go. Oh yeah, it definitely failed. Failed to find content. Okay, I guess they changed. Yeah, YouTube changed the format, so I have to find out how to do it now. All right, I'll look into that later. You've been loading a lot lately. Oh shoot, I don't know. It might be mine. I know when I was I've been compiling. Probably OBS doesn't encode things when I'm compiling stuff as well. So it might be buffering. So that's how I got exposed watching other streams on the job. Yeah, I don't know. What? Oh yeah, I did the tweet about how if I go into an indie VTuber chat and I see like someone that I recognize, I'll just be like, what the heck? Because like I'll usually, like, if I'm in like Niji-san or HoloLive chat, I'll recognize people who super chat a lot, some people in chat. But then if I go into indie VTuber chat and I see them there, it's just like, it feels like seeing a coworker, like outside of work. It's just like, oh, so this is where this guy it feels like if you go to a bar, like I don't drink, but I assume this is what it's like. If you go to a bar and you see your coworker there, that's what it feels like, seeing people in different VTuber chats. It's kind of cool. I don't know. I was there. So yeah, I was in I think on Sunday or Saturday or something. I was watching some indie VTubers, and then like at the end of the stream, they always like rated this one person who was doing like a subathon. And so I was just like, all right, I guess I'll stay here then, because everyone seems to know this person. But then the second time I was in their chat, I saw someone else that I recognized. Like, he's not even really a VTuber fan, but he was in chat, and I was like, what the heck? This guy is a regular. Like, you see they're subscribed for like multiple months, and you're like, oh, this guy probably has been here like a long time. And then like I was lurking, and he didn't know I was there. But then someone gifted me a sub, and then they're just like, oh, thanks for the gifted subscription to Alpha, so maybe he'll notice me and draw me. And I was like, I was in chat, I was just like, that's me. I've been here for like an hour. But yeah, that's something. So now everyone knows I was there. Anyway, that's it. I think that's all for today. Thanks for watching. I do see the bitrate in my OBS keeps going red. Probably like something's going on. I don't know, but I'll try to figure out the YouTube emotes thing, how they changed the page. I don't know. Hopefully it's not too complicated. Other than that, that's it for today. We had a very productive programming stream. Oh, it's buffering a lot? Oh, shoot. I know sometimes when it buffers when it's live, like in the actual VOD itself, it's usually fine. But I think... Sorry, I just... my voices. Let me drink more water, hold on. You're wondering if the connection was sluggish on your screen. It was still fine? What? Okay, maybe some people, I don't know. If I turn on live VOD rewinding, it mitigates the issue. I feel like when I turn that on, sometimes I get like people who are chatting like multiple minutes behind because they happen to like pause the video and they don't realize it's a VOD rewind enabled. So someone will comment on something that I said like 2 minutes ago. And so that's usually why I turn it off. Usually it's not this bad though. But I don't know, maybe. So people are also like, they get desynced. And it makes it confusing sometimes to read chat. Oh, it's pretty bad. Well, anyway, I don't know. We're done. Thanks for watching. Let's go. I'm so used to like at the end of streams. I'm watching a lot of indie VTuber streams. They're like, let's find someone to raid. And I'm just like, oh yeah, let's raid someone. YouTube raids are not a thing yet. Let's raid Iron Mouse. I don't know. Is she still doing her subathon? I don't know. Okay, so let's feed these fish. Interact. Let's go. I remember on Twitch, before they added official raids, people would just do them like unofficially. They would just like spam the link of a person they wanted to raid, and people would manually click it. And now it's like it's built into Twitch now. I mean, it's been that way for a long time, but... Oh yeah, I was gonna end the stream. Okay, thanks for watching. Let's go to the, let's go to this stream. Yeah, they're not a thing. Don't raid on YouTube.